Ladies and gentlemen, the next presentation is on the topic, Importance of Islamic Banking towards the Growth of SMEs. And that topic is going to be presented by Dr. Sulaiman Lujja. Lujja is a banker, a Sharia advisor, and auditor who has practiced and taught Islamic finance, Sharia, and banking for over 10 years. He has actively participated in the process of amending Uganda's legal framework to accommodate Islamic finance and has worked with government bodies, NGOs, and the private sector to develop Islamic financial system in Uganda. He is the manager Islamic Investments at Microfinance Support Center Limited, a government agency with the mandate of fulfilling government programs of alleviating poverty and improving livelihood. He's a senior trainer of Islamic Banking and Finance Institute of Malaysia and a lecturer of Islamic Finance at Islamic University in Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and welcome Dr. Lujja Sulaiman.
I thank you. And I thank the conveners, Dr. Emmanuel, for this wonderful opportunity to have this conference in Uganda. Uganda, we are unique in a way that it is a Muslim minority country. By registration, it is registered in the OIC, that is the Organization of Islamic Countries. You know, there are 57 countries. Uganda, since 1970s, it is still registered as an Islamic state participating, and it has tremendously benefited from this OIC. We have now the IDB, Islamic Development Bank, regional offices set up in Uganda here. Among all the countries we have in this region, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, it is Uganda, which is OIC. And we celebrate that membership, because we have benefited tremendously from OIC. Now, the importance of Islamic banking towards the growth of SMEs. And by the way, before I can jump into the presentation, we are doing this. Islamic banking is operational in Uganda. We thank, by the way, the government of Uganda under the leadership of our president. Government has been flexible and open to share opportunities and to embrace the global trends like Islamic banking. Now, what are the importances? And we have disbursed at Microfinance Support Center more than Uganda shillings 84 billion to SMEs, small and medium enterprises, to SACCOs, savings and credit cooperative societies, Islamic cooperatives, and the rest. And the contracts we are using are Islamic based, they are Sharia compliant based, they are Islamic banking. And we also thank OIC. We thank the Islamic Development Bank because it is the main funder of these programs. Just recently, like 2 weeks, the Islamic Development Bank has approved another funding, which is under the SAV project. SAV means strengthening the economic resilience of the vulnerable enterprises in Uganda. That is to the tune of USD 10 million. We thank the Islamic Development Bank. Now, it is government which has operationalized it. Other countries have embraced it already, like South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, and when you go to Europe, countries like Canada, Austria, Luxembourg, Bosnia, they have adopted already Islamic finance, and they are benefiting from Islamic finance. So we thank the government, and we thank Dr. Emmanuel and the team, and we thank the Director for Ethics and Integrity in the Office of the President. Now, this is quite interesting. How many Muslims are here? If I can ask, how many Muslims? We have only one? Only one. Now, to reward the non-Muslims, because we need to reward each other here, let us start with this slide number 8. That is a quotation, a landmark statement from Pope Benedict XVI to prove to you that really religion can have something to contribute towards economic empowerment of our society. The SMEs, banking, and the financial services sectors. This is Pope Benedict XVI. He said a landmark statement amidst the financial crisis, 2007, 2008, and 2009, when almost all the financial institutions, the banking institutions in Europe collapsed. They were just bailed out by their governments. Then Pope Benedict XVI came out and made a research on why Islamic financial institutions were too resilient to the financial shocks. They were not affected by the financial crisis. This is Pope. I don't know, and I don't believe there is anyone who is more religious than Pope here in this room and in all the networks who are with us in this conference. He said, the ethical principles on which Islamic banking is based may bring banks closer to their clients and to the true spirit which should mark every financial service. Landmark statement from Pope. So he recommended, after the financial crisis, he recommended Islamic banking. He recommended Islamic finance to be adopted by financial institutions. And after that statement, we saw global financial institutions adopting Islamic banking, either by way of window, they opened up Islamic banking windows, or subsidiaries, Islamic banking subsidiaries in countries like Malaysia. I studied from Malaysia. I saw Standard Chartered Swadq in Malaysia. That is not a Muslim bank, that is not an Islamic bank, but it opted for a fully-fledged Islamic subsidiary. Now, we thank the government that even in Uganda, we have it operational at Microfinance Support Center. And we hope that after the cooperatives have adopted Islamic banking, in the near future, we are going to see also banks coming on board. Now, first of all, what is Islamic banking? Now, Islam has afforded to bring back ethics into business. We have seen Reverend Canon Mwesigwa coming here, calling upon the church, calling upon the Christian faithful to adopt the Christian model. We have Centenary Bank, but Centenary Bank in Uganda is not a Christian bank. It is a commercial bank, conventional bank. So he called upon the Christian faithful to start a model. In the Muslim world, the model is already there. In Kenya, the model is already there. And in Uganda, we have started it. What is Islamic banking? Islamic banking, precisely, is not a religious operation, as most of the people may think. Because most of the misconceptions why Islamic banking has failed or has delayed to be operational in most of the African countries is because of the misconceptions we have towards the name Islam. When you see Islam or Islamic banking, you think it is a force which has come to develop Muslims or to make the country Islamic or to make a country Sharia-based. It is not a religious operation. It is rather banking and financial services developed to meet the requirements of people in a way that cannot contradict the principles of Sharia, the principles of Islamic commercial law. Another key word is also Sharia here. People are scared about Sharia. When they hear Sharia, that word Sharia, they think we are going to Islamize the banking, we are going to Islamize the state. What is Sharia? Our intention in Islamic banking is only that component of Sharia that is relevant to the financial services sector. That's why I have called it Islamic commercial law. Now, Sharia, what does it mean, Sharia? When we say Sharia, because it is an Arabic word, just as we adopted some Latin words in disciplines like economics, but we are not scared of them. For example, ceteris paribus. People feel comfortable when they study economics. But whenever we come and we say murabaha, we say musharaka, we say Sharia, people become scared. Why? What is that component of Sharia that is relevant to the financial services sector? You can see Islam here, there in red, because it's called Islamic banking. And you can see that Islam has three components. One of the components is Aqidah, that is beliefs. I've crossed it out. What do I mean? Our intention in Islamic banking is not belief. We are not talking about oneness, the monotheism. God is one, where we conflict as Muslims and Christians. We are not talking about that. It's not relevant to Islamic banking. Now, another component is ethics. We have a component of ethics because we are talking about ethics here. But the ethics, I was meaning akhlaq. I was meaning, for example, the attires, how we dress. For example, veiling for the ladies. We are not talking about that component. The component of Islam, which is relevant to Islamic banking, is Sharia. And not the whole conglomerate of Sharia. Because Sharia has two categories. Number one is acts of worship. Islamic banking is not bringing on board acts of worship. For example, praying 5 times a day, worshiping God. saying Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and all what Muslims say when they go to the mosque. It is not relevant here. Now, that component which is relevant in Islamic banking is mu'amalat. That is what we call relation with others. How do I relate with Emmanuel? I've known Emmanuel for more than 3 years. He is Emmanuel, I am Sulaiman. How do I relate with him? But the relations with others also has several categories, most of which are irrelevant to Islamic banking. Number one, for example, politics. Islamic banking is not concerning politics. It is not concerning marriages. It is not concerning criminal issues. It's not concerning sentences. It is not concerning inheritance. The only component of mu'amalat which is relevant in Islamic banking is mu'amalat maliya, what we call commercial law. Now, what is the ideology precisely? The ideology in the product of Islamic banking, or in the products we have, which can be exemplified, which can be emulated. For example, when the Christians come to bring the Christian model of banking, because the Islamic model of banking has manifested since 1963, when it started in Sudan and when it started in Malaysia, Dubai, and others. Now, Islamic banking promotes financial transactions that directly link to the real economic sector. Now, when you copy from Islamic banking, take a very important principle. What is that principle? That we link directly to the real economic sector. There are many terminologies in Islamic banking which can confuse you if you are not a Muslim. And most of the Muslims, that's why they are not here maybe, we have not appreciated what Islamic banking is. Now, what you should target most is the linkage between the financial services and the real economic sector. And we have that in Islamic banking. Number one, for example, when you look at our products, we have the equity-based products in Islamic banking and finance. The equity-based. Equity-based, we mean we are doing banking, we are not like conventional. Conventional banking is premised on the principle of lending money at a corporate level. And the relationship between the borrower and the lender, that is the financial institution and the customer, is that of the borrower and the lender. It is loaning money, transacting money. We are not transacting money in Islamic banking. The linkage between the financial services and the real economic sector here is the transaction in real commodities, real economic sector, real services. It's very important to highlight here that Islam says money is not a commodity. Ladies and gentlemen, money is not an asset. What do I mean? For economists, money has no intrinsic value. That's why it's not a commodity. Money has no intrinsic value. A phone has intrinsic value. I can transact it. It is acceptable in Islam to transact a phone because it has intrinsic value. What is intrinsic value? Intrinsic value means something out of which you can derive satisfaction. Something which derives utility. For example, this chair. A chair is a commodity. A chair is an asset. There is satisfaction you can derive from the chair. For example, I've got satisfaction from that chair. I've sat on the chair. But there is no satisfaction I can derive from money, paper money, fiat money, money itself. Now, that's why Islamic banking is premised on that principle. Please transact a commodity or transact an asset where you can derive satisfaction. I can sell the chair, I can sell the phone, I can sell a premise, I can sell land. Why? Because there is utility or there is satisfaction you can derive from land, from house, from a car, from a phone, from a chair, from a microphone. But there is no intrinsic value and satisfaction I can derive from money. Money is just a medium of exchange. Money is just a store of value. Money is just a legal tender and you don't own money. If you have 1 million today, you don't own the paper money. You only own the value that 1 million carries or the value that paper money carries. But you don't own the legal tender. The legal tender belongs solely to government. Number two, maybe another product we have in Islamic banking, they are the debt-based products. These are exchange products. Islamic banking is going to bring partnership. We partner with the customer. There is a difference between, and the relationship, when you look at the relationship between a lender and a borrower, is not a relationship. If I may go back, a relationship between a lender and a borrower is not that kind of relationship between partners, active partners or passive partners. So Islamic banking encourages partnership or equity-based. We go into equity rather than debt. Now, when we fail in equity because of moral hazards, and Islamic banking has not adopted too many, although we have them, equity-based products, we go for the debt-based most. The debt-based products, we mean products which behave like conventional banking. A customer comes in conventional bank, he wants to borrow 1 million Uganda shillings. The bank will finance that customer because the relationship is lender-borrower. But when you come to Islamic banking, we shall ask you, what is your desire? What do you want to do with the 1 million? For example, you can say, I want to purchase a laptop. Then a financial institution, what it will do, it will just go and purchase the laptop. Because money has no intrinsic value. You cannot derive satisfaction from money, but I can derive satisfaction from the laptop. As a financial institution, I will ensure that I buy the laptop. These are the ethical and the values we have in Islamic banking. I have to buy the laptop, own the laptop. Only then I can sell the laptop to you. It is tedious somehow. And the documentations are too packed for Islamic financial institutions. And that's why most of the customers don't want them. But to those who are interested in values, who have ethics, like Pope said, the ethical principles. These are the ethical principles he was highlighting. The ethical principles on which Islamic finance is based may bring banks closer to their customers and to the true spirit which should mark every financial services. Now, I have to buy the laptop as a financial institution. I own the laptop, only then I can sell the laptop to the customer. Because of time, allow me, there are some other principles which are useful for our SMEs to grow. Why are businesses not thriving in Uganda when we have too many mosques, when we have too many churches everywhere? Even premises now are becoming churches. Everyone has become a pastor. Everyone is becoming a religious leader. Everyone starting business, he fails. The next day, you will find him a sheikh, you will find him imam, you will find him a pastor. Why? Because of these principles we are living out in Islamic banking. Principles, for example, late payment. When you don't pay on time, how do we treat you in Islamic banking? Late payment charges. When you don't pay on time, those charges. For example, the financier will only be entitled to the actual losses he has suffered. If the bank has extended financing to an SME, to a customer, and the customer does not pay on time or defaults on the installments, the bank will only be entitled to the actual monetary damage. These are the ethical principles the Pope highlighted. The actual monetary damage. And the bank or any lender or a financier in Islam is not allowed to benefit beyond his monetary damages. What does it mean? If you did not suffer any monetary loss or damage, then you are not allowed to charge for late payment. That is very good for value-loaded people. Then another one, rebate. In the interest of time, you can see Islamic banking where it has thrived. For example, Islamic banking has successfully been adopted in Europe. Europe, they don't worship, they don't have God, basically. That's why, yes, they have God. Dr. Emmanuel is laughing. They have God, but they worship money. Most of the countries there. Go to China, very sorry, to the Chinese, our comrades, development partners. Rarely can you find a church, but in Africa here, everywhere, premise, you hear people supplicating. You hear people praising the Lord inside there. Now, in Europe, Islamic banking has been adopted. In Asia, countries like Malaysia, countries like Singapore, Indonesia, and in the Middle East, these are the countries I've listed them. But what is key is a landmark statement also from the late Sir Edward George. This is the former governor of the Bank of England. He gave a proper account of Islamic banking when he said, when I looked into it a bit more, it seemed to me that in fact many of the financial products commonly used in this country, UK, already have had some, at least, of the characteristics consistent with the teachings of the Quran. Edward, governor, he's the one who's saying, if only we could come to a better and more precise understanding of the Islamic financial products being talked about at that time, being talked about by Muhammad, being talked about by Muslims. Indeed, it seems to me also that as a matter of general principle, a wide range of financial products would benefit the whole of the community, and that Islamic products, keyword, and Islamic products could prove to be attractive beyond the purely Muslim sects. I call upon non-Muslims. I call upon world over, because economies have benefited from Islamic banking. A case to cite here is the UK. They are now striving to become the global gateway for Islamic finance. UK, to become the global gateway for Islamic finance because of the impact the interest-based system. It can also be manifested by just a quotation from Henry Ford. Henry Ford, I think you are aware of Henry Ford. If you are a religious leader, me, I'm a religious leader. I have a bachelor's degree in Sharia. I studied from Saudi Arabia. I'm a religious leader already, and I can lead the prayer, Juma prayer, or anywhere. I can lead people in the mosque. But we have lost touch with the values of the divine arrangement. Look at this industrialist, Henry Ford. Precisely, he said, it is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking capitalism, our banking and monetary system. For if they did, if you knew what conventional banking has done to you, what the interest-based banking has done to you, and you have failed to emulate, you have failed to implement Islamic finance, as the Pope recommended, he said, Henry Ford said, for if they did, there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning. That is an industrialist. He's not a religious leader, but he's blaming conventional finance. Precisely, as I'm winding up, let me wind up also with this quotation. Theory of interest has for a long time been a weak spot in the science of economics. And the explanation and the determination of interest rate, go to any banker, now that CEO from Ghana, ask him. The determination of interest rate still gives rise to more disagreement among economists than any other branch of general economic theory. In conclusion, the core ethical and value-loaded principles which are rooted in Islamic banking and Sharia commercial law in general are well suited to respond to challenges the SMEs in Uganda and in Africa are currently facing in building the economy. Secularization, which was started in Europe, would not take our businesses and SMEs very far. Thus, factoring the Islamic banking principles into our investment and development decisions shall help us to revamp economies as they have helped various economies in the Middle East and Asia to thrive, such as United Arab Emirates and Malaysia. I thank you for God and my country.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with RwandAir today. RwandAir, the safest airline in Africa.
RwandAir, fly the dream of Africa.